What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we have a spoiler-free review of a Lovecraft movie that just hit VOD called Gods of the Deep. I wonder which one that one might be. Check it out. So yeah, I hadn't really seen too much about this movie. I saw like an article and I watched the trailer. I knew that immediately this is going to be an indie film that was going to be dealing with, you know, a lot less money than something you would see on the big mainstream. This is a British production, by the way, that is written by Charlie Steeds. He also directed this film. He's done like a slew of different horror movies, like 10 of them or so, that haven't really gotten the highest ratings. So my expectations were on the little bit on the low end, but you know, I try to be as fair as possible to indie films because, you know, they don't have the means to make the biggest films, you know. Honestly, Lovecraft is one of those kind of things that you either condense it into a small little thing, or, you know, the tendency is to try to make it as big as possible because we love Lovecraft, right? But Lovecraft seems to be very expensive because it is pretty wild. So what is Gods of the Deep about anyway? So Pickman's Corporation is actually putting together a team of people to go to the bottom of the sea in Antarctica. They've discovered a chasm that has gone even deeper than they've ever searched before, and they've found a sort of man-made, what seems to be, portal. And they want to go in there and find some sort of sample to prove the existence of the gods of the deep. Now, a lot of these scientists don't really know what's going on or what they're actually going to do, so they're just kind of curious, and they want to go and see. And to their surprise, things go poorly, everybody goes crazy, and of course, Lovecraft. Now, what did I think of this film? Well, I'll be honest, I wasn't too thrilled with it. I do like action films, and I do love Lovecraft, but I like my Lovecraft to be a little bit more atmospheric, trippy, psychedelic, mind-bending, kind of weird, creaturific, which, you know, this has some creatures in it, but they mostly take the opportunity to either use CGI, which I understand, you know, you have to do what you can with what you got, or they're using tentacles, which people are using to make them seem like they're moving on themselves, at least in a couple of moments, which, Now, the thing I found odd about this, and that really bugged me about this movie, yes, I was expecting the acting to be a little bit lower. Yes, I was expecting all the regular stuff that an indie film has woes with to be on the lower end. Problem with this movie is that it seems to borrow a couple of storylines loosely with other movies, like The Abyss. That's a big one. They go down to the bottom of the sea, just like The Abyss. There's even some archetype characters from The Abyss that are in this movie. They even kind of touch upon, like, one of the characters is like from Prometheus, like Ridley Scott's Prometheus, like the main corporation villain kind of guy. And even The Thing, there's like moments in this film where they're having visions, and there's like a guy in a snowsuit, like a snow outfit like you would be in the Antarctic, and he's standing there exactly like the cover of The Thing, which, you know, I mean, obviously there's some homage there, but it really kind of takes away from the story. It just kind of combined all these elements together and kind of made this okay movie. Another thing that was really bothering me, this movie kind of doesn't cover its mistakes. There are moments in the film where you know that these props and things that they're using are just very not real. There was like moments in this film where they're on a ship, which the set looks pretty good, actually. For an independent film like this, I actually thought it was pretty decent. But there are some glaring flaws in it, like they get into a little ship. Like, remember in The Abyss when they get into the little ship and then they go down and like search for stuff and then it gets caught or whatever? That ship is on this boat, and so it kind of like looks a little janky. And there's even one scene where they're using like plexiglass to use as the window of this little submarine. There's also a couple of moments in the film where they're talking about the pressure of a cabin, you know, because when you're at the bottom of the sea, especially 37,000 feet in the sea, you're going to deal with a lot of issues. But they're trying to like close these gates and they're wide open in a way. Like you can see that air would just get through it. And maybe that's just a minor gripe with me, but it seemed for a movie that's taking itself so seriously, these kind of flaws would not be something you'd want to overlook and you'd want to cover by, zooming in on a shot or editing it a different way or getting a better angle. I feel like they kind of missed some of that opportunity. You know, obviously, like I said, this is an independent film and I keep saying that, but I usually root for independent films. And if there's some sort of story element that really kind of engages me, or they try to do something a little bit more unique with it, that's when I'm kind of like excited about an indie film and I give it a little bit more props because it feels a little more authentic or it feels a little more original and it kind of is trying to do something different. This just feels a very paint by numbers movie and it doesn't exceed what it's trying to do. Kind of just borrows from other stories and then it just mashes them together into this okay story. We do get people going crazy and things like that. When I think of somebody going crazy or being possessed, as one does when you're in Lovecraft, there's like voice changing, there's facial changing. This movie just applies like weird goo and then just has people acting in their normal voice and just like freaking out and stuff. Pulls me out of the movie. That's unfortunate because I am a big fan of Lovecraft and I want Lovecraft films to be good. Let's be honest. Lovecraft is very difficult to put on a small screen unless you do it in a very condensed story and focus specifically on the characters and the story element and maybe some practical effects, in my opinion. But, you know, when you're going for a Deep Rising kind of thing or like this bigger, aliens kind of thing, you really kind of have to have the extra money to really kind of pad out some of the problems with it. And I think this movie kind of suffers from that. I don't know, maybe you'll like it a little bit more than I will. Maybe you'll be okay with the schlockiness of it. I think the fact that it was tonally trying to be so very serious and then the schlock was in there accidentally, it didn't make it like this sort of so bad it's good thing. It just kind of felt like it didn't work together. So hopefully, maybe there'll be somebody out there that will appreciate a little bit more than me. For me, I'm on a lower scale, below average on this one. I would say probably like a 3.5 or a 4 out of 10. I don't mind watching movies like this. I just wish that they would try to do something a little bit more original to try to push new ideas in there and not feel like it's just kind of borrowing from everything. Because I've seen movies that do Lovecraft and it's literally in a bathroom, like that movie Glorious, one bathroom, and they did so much in that little space that it actually made it work. If you don't mind like 90s style sci-fi TV movies that are kind of in that vein, this would be okay for you. But if you're looking for something like Underwater, Deep Rising, this is not going to be the movie for you. Unfortunately, that's just how I feel. It's just my opinions. I'm always rooting for indies, so we gotta support indies. This one just wasn't for me, so hopefully it's for you. Have you seen the trailer? Watch the trailer first before you dive into this one. I feel like this one's gonna be one that's gonna be on the low rent side. You might want to wait to watch it on streaming before you pay any money to do it, but if you want to support indie film, please do. That's just my thoughts. That's my opinions. I would love to hear what you think in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button and the little bell notification to let you know when I got a new video up. But thanks for stopping by, and as always, long live the void.